This is Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
This is Tiny at Obsessive Tiny on Twitter.
And this is Mike at I am Mike White on Twitter.
And this is ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast. Hey guys, how's it going?
Going well.
Splendiferous.
Splendiferous, nice. Nice.
I like good, yeah.
Yeah. How's your guys' week going and everything? Or a couple weeks, because it's been kind of, our scheduling's been kind of weird with all that, because we released the Gap episode, so we've kind of been off it for a little bit, haven't we?
Yeah. It's been weird. It's been a weird schedule.
Yeah.
But things are good.
Nice. Everyone going well?
I'm looking at my numbers for April, my movie watching numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really feeling good about this year. But we're now just about halfway through April, and I'm not feeling so good about it anymore.
Wow, that sucks.
It does. Yeah, I was really excited. I had watched about 20 more movies in 2014 than I had at this point in 2013. But, 14 days into April is when we're recording, and I've only watched 4 movies.
Jeez.
Big weekends, busy nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that indicative of your past year's April numbers? Because I assume that kind of in the lead up to the end of the school year, I assume that you're more busy.
If I don't have them all open right now, so I could tell you what the trend was, but I'll look it up and maybe I'll let you know at the end of the episode.
Nice.
I think it might be, but I don't tend to let my work schedule dictate my movie watching schedule all that much.
Right.
But it's possible. I don't know. Things don't usually get all that much busier. But they have this year just because we're trying to put out a yearbook and we're kind of trying to meet some deadlines.
I see.
Okay, well, last April was ugly. Last April, I only watched 8 movies altogether.
Jeez.
Yeah. Ugh. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. Watching movies like a normal person.
I know, right?
Ooh. And in 2012, I watched 6.
Jeez.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That sounds like my February's.
Yeah.
Because February's usually drop off for me.
But get this. In 2011, now again, this was when I was a single man. April 2011, I watched 34 movies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which was my biggest month in 2011.
Nice.
So I'm not going to point fingers.
Yeah, you know what this means. You have to quit your job and get divorced.
Exactly.
That's exactly right.
If you want to stay on this podcast.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, I don't know. There's really no correlation that I can notice or that I can identify.
Right. That's interesting.
What it is, yeah.
Huh. It's my movie watching has been decent this month. I mean, anymore, it's just a struggle between picking if I want to watch a movie or watch a TV show or read or play a video game or it's just a weird jumble of things that I need to juggle.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. There's all kinds of things. I mean, I have my stack of movies, my stack of comic books, my stack of novels.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough to be an obsessive personality.
Right.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's I don't know what I was going to say there. Wow, I just completely trailed off.
Maybe we should stop boring our listeners with our personal listening habits.
Right. Well, Tiny, what was yours? Sorry.
Mine's going well. Just to throw mine in there since you two said yours. I'm kind of going by days this year because, again, I'm trying to do 365 movies in a year.
Yes.
This is the 104th day of the year, I believe.
Something like that.
And I've watched 107 movies, so I'm doing good.
Nice. That's
is
good.
Awesome.
You started out strong,
I know.
and the year is catching up with you.
Yeah.
It is. The new job has really put a hamper on it. Yeah.
You need to use a day off to watch 12 movies.
Yes. Need to do like a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I might do that like this weekend or something.
A marathon?
Yeah, just get like a bunch of movies and just watch them.
What's the most you guys have ever watched in a day?
In my recorded movie watching history, probably 7 movies.
Holy balls.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Yep.
I don't know that I've ever done more than 3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. Well,
Mine is 5.
nice.
Yeah.
Respectable.
I'm jealous of you guys.
No,
I might have done 4. I know that I've never done more than 4, and I know for a long time I had only done 3, and I've been saying, I'm going to go for 4, I'm going to go for 4.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I've ever done it. I'm not sure that I've ever done it.
I think the day of 7 movies for me was, it was a Shocktober day. I think it was when I was watching, I wanted to get all like the found footage movies kind of out of the way. So I think I just had a lot of them just playing in the background. And I mean, they're like 80 to 90 minute movies. So
Okay.
it's a little less impressive / less sad when you consider the context.
Uh-huh.
But yeah.
Well, I'm starting to think in October of 2012 was when we did our horror movie festival at our house.
Oh, right.
And as it turns out, on October 19th, I watched 4 movies,
Nice.
including a midnight movie. So like 12 a.m. October 19th.
Okay.
And then 3 in contiguous order.
Nice.
It'd be a fun experiment to like, Mike's probably going to hate this, to see between the 3 of us, see like which of us could watch the most movies in one sitting in one 24-hour period.
Huh.
Oh, I would love to had I the time.
Yeah.
Right. That's the problem.
Yes.
Would that
And,
this
like-
podcast were a time podcast?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Like put parameters on, like you can't fall asleep and you can't
Right.
do this and that. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I have been talking about some things that I want to accomplish. This might end up being like the relationship podcast, and I don't want it to.
Mm-hmm.
But Amanda and I have talked about, procreating in the future.
Ooh.
Okay, and there's a list of things that I want to do. I want to accomplish. Turning 30 is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like all the hobbies that I have. There are certain goals I'd like to meet in said hobbies. And one of them, and I think I'm going to try it this year. I really want to watch 50 movies in a Shocktober.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think it's possible. I was like 62 would be really bitching if I could pull that off,
Yeah.
but that's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm definitely not getting married this October,
Right.
which will free up some time.
Nice.
So, I think I'm going to shoot for 50, and I think I'm going to start a schedule early on and try to stick to it as hard as I can.
That's awesome. I like it.
Nice.
I like
Yeah.
it a lot. And, not to, brag or anything, but it's definitely possible to do 50.
Yeah, what did you do?
It's also possible to do 57.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's, then again, I am very, very much single. Telling girls that you watched 57 movies, 57 horror movies at that in a month
Yeah.
does not laid get you.
No. Did you tally the number of people you saw die? I remember one weekend in 2008 or 9, my friend and I spent a weekend. This predates calling Shocktober a thing.
But
I still watched horror movies. And so we watched probably 8 or 9 horror movies in a weekend. And like on Sunday night, we tallied how many people we watched die. And it was kind of fun and like sadistic at the same time.
I might honestly do that this year. That is really cool. That's a really cool stat to
Thank
kind of
you.
track.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Thank you. It's weird. It's a weird stat.
Yeah.
I feel kind of like, what the hell am I doing with my life?
Nice.
But
I feel like that a lot already.
yeah, that's true.
Not a strange thing for me.
Right.
No.
Right. So we were talking about the movies that we've watched lately, and we have all watched a movie lately. That is the same movie. I'm trying to do a good segue. Mike, you're much better at these than I am. Captain America, The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Do
you want me to segue it?
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
Just pretend like that didn't happen.
What were we talking about? We were talking about movies.
People dying in movies, telling people dying.
Okay. So anyway, to sum up, I've only watched 4 movies in April, which I'm kind of embarrassed about so far. Hopefully that number goes up. However, I'm gonna kind of spoil for the listeners here. I have possibly a contender for movie of the year that I watched in April. We all actually watched it. So today on the podcast, to start 20 minutes in,
right,
we're going to be talking about Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Awesome.
Hey guys, just wanted to give you a heads up. We are about to spoil Captain America, the Winter Soldier pretty much intermittently throughout our whole review. So if you haven't seen it yet, check out the show notes for timestamps to skip ahead. And come back and listen to us discuss it when you've watched it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm excited. We haven't done a movie review episode in ages.
It's been since like Pacific Rim, I think.
I think so. And
Yeah.
I don't know if we've given a positive one.
I know, right?
True.
Yeah, because it's kind of a weird thing because I usually kind of stress out like thinking like, okay, what's the topic for this week? What's the topic? And I kind of forget like, well, we can just do a movie. And this is one of the rare occasions where we've all watched a movie that's recently come out that we've all seen at not the same time, but we've all seen it. So it's kind of a unique situation. So yeah.
And it's always fun to talk about a newer movie that's come out and seeing it at the same time. So why don't we start actually by describing or explaining the conditions in which we watched it?
Oh, good call. Do you, I guess.
I mean, I can start. You want me to start?
Yeah, because me and Tiny saw it together.
Sure. And I'll kind of give a little more background. Captain America is not really a favorite of mine. He's in, I don't know if I'm going to go top 10 superheroes. He's certainly in there. And I was really not impressed with, Captain America, the First Avenger. I thought it was okay. I know that people will disagree with me on that. There are some people who like it a lot. I think it's kind of a low point in the Marvel Phase 1 series. So I didn't see this at midnight, despite the fact that I was really excited. You know, it's gotten rave reviews. Everybody's kind of been talking about it. So I was excited to see it. Didn't see it at midnight, but saw it the Thursday after the day it was released with a friend of mine here in Evansville on a movie night.
Nice.
You guys?
Oh, when did we see it, Tiny? We saw it it was opening weekend. It was like Saturday?
Saturday night, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the crowd like?
You know, there was a relatively decent turnout, I guess. It wasn't packed or anything.
Half capacity, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe a little more than half. There was a kid, 2 rows behind us who, he had to go to the bathroom a couple times, so I guess his mom escorted him to the bathroom. But he had those shoes that light up when he walks. And I'm like, what? I'm like, this is not a good shoe to take to a movie theater because it was very kind of distracting in my peripheral vision. So he basically ruined the entire experience for me. No, just kidding. But yeah, so we went and saw it that Saturday that it came out. Saturday after it came out.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I actually thought that the first Captain America was. I think it's. You used the phrase a low point. I think it's actually the lowest point of the Marvel-ishness.
Okay.
I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, the first Thor, I think, for me, is the low point.
Right. I think those are the two that people kind of juggle between.
Yeah. I kind of when I first saw them, I gave them kind of the benefit of the doubt because I was thinking, well, it's a couple months away from The Avengers, which is a movie that I'd been looking forward to ever since I saw Iron Man. So I was thinking like, well, maybe my judgment is clouded because I know that Avengers is just around the corner. But then as I rewatch them, I'm like, as movies by themselves, I'm not that interested in them or impressed by them. I like the comic relief in Thor. I like something in Captain America. I can't even remember. I mean, I like the shield in Captain America, I guess.
Yeah,
but
the colors.
Yeah. Even that, like the kind of the color palette, I guess, the kind of antique CGI kind of scheme of the first Captain America just didn't mesh well with me.
Okay. See, I appreciated the fact that it was a period piece, and I thought the color scheme was cool.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
I like a lot that it's a period piece, but I think just I don't know what the technical word is for it, but the color scheme and all that, I just felt like comparing it to all the other Phase 1 movies, it just seems kind of like the odd man out.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I thought it was cartoonish. That's how it came across to me, and not comic-ish, but cartoonish, literally. Yeah. Just in its over the topness, and the color palette and whatnot was fine. That's not what the issue was for me, but like everything was just like really over the top. Like why did like the Red Skull's car have to be like 60 feet long and ridiculous? Like why couldn't you just have a regular car? Like why did he have to go flying off in a jet or a rocket like a James Bond villain?
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
I need to see it again, actually.
Yeah, so do I. So you guys didn't watch it before you saw the Winter Soldier?
I did.
You did?
Actually.
I
Yeah,
did.
It was only my second time watching it. So.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah, I've only seen it once, actually. I've only seen it when I saw it in the theaters.
I've seen it a couple times, I think. At least a couple times. I actually don't own it, but yeah, and what I've been doing for Phase 2 is at least for Iron Man 3, what I did was I watched Iron Man and then the Avengers and then went to see Iron Man 3. Obviously, I didn't really do that with Thor because, I mean, it was pretty close together, I think. But I didn't do that with Captain America, even though I probably should have watched the first one. But it didn't really harp on my experience or anything because that movie was really good. The Winter Soldier was awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's usually people save their review for the end, but the Winter Soldier was excellent. We can go into plot details here, so I'm gonna say something pretty huge, and I have a feeling you guys might disagree, just knowing how you feel. I think this was better than the Avengers. I think it was a better movie than the Avengers.
Huh?
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think it's at least in the top 3 comic book movies ever made, and if you don't include The Dark Knight, because I kind of don't,
right.
That's a brilliant crime drama that just happens to feature Batman. I think I've said that before.
Right.
Then it might be a top 2 favorite comic book movies of all time.
Nice.
Yeah, it was excellent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I will say something that is going to cause some consternation, I guess, in this conversation.
Do it.
I would rank it just below Iron Man 3.
Okay.
So I think Iron Man 3 was a little bit better.
Where does Iron Man 3 rank then?
Iron Man, it goes Avengers, Iron Man 3, Winter Soldier, and then the rest scattered throughout.
Okay. Now, is this comic book movies, not
This
including
is-
Dark Knight, or the Marvel movies?
This is Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Okay.
So, because I know that there was a lot of, I don't know how much blowback there was about Iron Man 3, but I liked it a lot. I liked it just a little bit more than Winter Soldier. Now, when I rewatch both of them, I'm sure that they'll be alternating nonstop because Winter Soldier just was really, really impressive.
Yeah.
It's worth mentioning, directed by Anthony and Joe Russo.
Russo. It's more than just worth mentioning. I actually have a couple of notes about that. I definitely think we should talk about that.
Oh, absolutely. And I'd kind of forgotten about that throughout the movie, and then when I saw Danny Pudi's
for listeners, why do we need to know who Joe and Anthony Russo are?
Well, they were, I believe that they were producers for Arrested Development at the beginning. And
directed, I think, the first episode, the pilot.
That sounds right. And then they were very very involved in Community. So that's their kind of tie-in there. So I mean, I know that they directed the pilot of Community.
They did, and more specifically, they directed Fistful of Paintballs.
Oh, nice.
Which kind of displayed their action abilities. So Kevin Feige, who is kind of the head of decision making at Marvel Studios, calls that episode kind of his influence for why he hired those guys.
That's
because
awesome.
My question is, why in the world would these guys be given this movie to do?
Right.
I mean, this is a huge deal, and they're from Community, which nobody watches Community.
Right.
Clearly. Yeah. And so you ask, like, how did they get the job? And so Kevin Feige has said that it's the Fistful of Paintballs showed that they can handle multiple characters and big action set pieces, which clearly, holy shit.
Yeah.
They can.
I guess let's just go into it, I guess. The plot. Hail Hydra.
Sure.
I think saying I can respect your opinion that it was that you think it was better than Avengers. I think it was close to Avengers, to be honest with you. So I'm not that far behind you. I think I would to go by Matt's ranking system. I think I might actually put it ahead of the original Iron Man. Nice. I think Avengers would be my favorite, and then Winter Soldier, then Iron Man 3 probably. Yeah, I mean, just to throw my hat in there, Avengers, I think it's so Joss Whedon-esque that it's just so awesome. And obviously that's biased, but I can't help it. I think the way that the mixture of the dialogue scenes with the action, I think that is his specialty, Joss Whedon's specialty. Yes, and that was done amazingly well in Winter Soldier as well. I mean, I would say pretty much on par with Avengers. Which really surprised me. I wasn't quite expecting it. So, that's where I would rank it.
Okay. I think if we can stick with the Avengers thing, clearly phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is different. I think that was seen in Iron Man 3 and even more so here in Winter Soldier. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, and I noticed that there's a kind of a common thread. I can't really remember Thor: The Dark World that much, but at least when it comes to Iron Man 3 and Winter Soldier, there's kind of this common thread between the two that they don't spend quite that much time in their uniforms or in their like they're kind of they're cast out, I guess.
That's true. That's true.
I don't know if that's a conscious effort by them or
well,
what.
Iron Man 3 is clearly that.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. I imagine if you like tallied up how much time Chris Evans spent in the costume, I'm sure First Avenger had more screen time with him as Captain America. But it's more noticeable in Iron Man 3. What I think the difference is that they're perhaps a little more character driven and they have more to say. Like clearly this had a lot of political things to say.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And it's almost safe to say Marvel has grown up. And I think what I love Avengers, and until Winter Soldier came out, I called it my favorite Marvel movie, but not until I saw it a second time, and I was not floored the first time I saw the Avengers. And I think I wasn't emotionally or intellectually satisfied after I saw that movie. I was like, that was incredibly well done in terms of characters and in terms of having multiple characters in a single plot, and the action was top notch. But other than that, I was kind of left wanting. And I even said before, I think I've mentioned this in a podcast before, what it lacked for me were fan Easter eggs for the fans.
Okay.
Okay.
There were very, very few Easter eggs in the Avengers. And Winter Soldier was full of them.
Yeah. Huh. See, I'm not familiar with the comics or anything, so
Yeah.
Right.
Well, just little things. Like, my favorite Easter egg was probably when the guy mentions Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah.
When he's going through the list of people that Hydra's going to kill, and he mentions Stephen Strange. That there was nothing like that in Avengers.
Yeah. I actually did catch pick up on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Let's see. Yeah. What did you guys think of Anthony Mackie?
Awesome. I mean, I thought his portrayal of the superhero was really awesome, but it was interesting how, I wouldn't say it was necessarily a flaw, but it was kind of strange just how quickly Steve Rogers kind of trusted this guy, just way off, like a complete stranger, just like way off the bat. They just kind of trust each other, and I mean, it's not a bad thing.
Right.
He was such like the character, Anthony Mackie's character, was just so nice and just so like a rigid character. Like you knew exactly what you were getting, and that's fine. I'm not criticizing. It's just, it seemed a little like he could have had a little bit more depth. Not to Anthony Mackie's fault, but maybe some of the writing could have been a little different.
Yeah. I agree with you a little. However, I think he was saved by that scene with the what is it? Post-traumatic group. That scene was so valuable to the movie, and I'm so glad they didn't cut it.
Yeah.
Without it, I don't think we would have felt even close to as much as we feel about the Falcon. And I agree that I think he could have used a little more. He is a side character, so how much can you really ask for? But I thought that scene was pretty valuable and well played.
I agree. I didn't have any problems with the setup of the dynamic or anything like that, because I mean they were kind of Captain America. He was kind of pushed up against the wall, like he kind of didn't really have anywhere else to go. So I mean it was kind of made sense that he would trust this one guy. I mean, because they had kind of a rapport going. They had that kind of mutual kind of respect for each other as veterans and all that. So yeah, but I mean, I can see how you would get to that, Tiny.
Yeah, it's again not a criticism, but just something I noticed. Speaking of character interaction, like one of my favorite parts of the movie was the interaction between Steve Rogers and Romanoff, Widow.
Yeah, she was.
They
great.
were awesome. Yeah, I was surprised by it because they had already established this relationship, this friendship between her and Hawkeye in Avengers, which I want to say that in the comics, weren't they like occasional lovers or something like that?
Now they are kind of now, yeah.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, it doesn't really matter, but they already established it in the Avengers, and it was great there too. It's classic Joss Whedon character interaction.
Right.
And so I was just surprised to see it in this movie, but it didn't. It seemed like they were kind of playing it a little love triangle kind of thing, like maybe she kind of has feelings for him because she's trying to set him up with all these different women, and that's kind of a classic "I like you" tactic from girls, at least in movies.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just kind of got a feeling that maybe she kind of has a thing for him, and which again, it makes sense for this movie, but the grand scale of the Avengers universe, I don't know, but it was awesome. I liked their dialogue, and they had awesome chemistry. Their few lines of comic relief were just perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I did not. I don't think I really realized how much the movie Her made me fall in love with Scarlett Johansson. Because I was just so smitten just watching that movie, or watching this movie with her. Also, it helps that she's freaking gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I really liked their interactions and everything, and it was like kind of not buddy cop, but kind of just a good buddy movie. Between those two, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I like that she helped him live in 2013 or 14. I don't know when the movie exactly takes place. And to add to that, I like that they didn't spend too much time on him adjusting to living in the future or living in the present. They of course touch on it. That's a lot of what they're doing. But I love that there's not a whole lot spent on there, and he's able to get to the plot and the story a little faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was and did you guys see that there's alternate versions of his little notebook, his little Chekhov list? Yeah, like they had different versions for different countries of things that he needs to check out on.
Yeah. My favorite is Rocky, and then Rocky 2 in parentheses.
Yeah. Yeah. With a question mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rocky 2?
Yeah. Another thing, not to harp on Romanov's character, but or ScarJo's character, but I felt like her introduction was Iron Man 2. That's when they introduced her character.
Right.
And that movie wasn't great, and I think they kind of fumbled her introduction because in Avengers and this film, we get a completely different character than what we got in that film. I'll give them some credit because of the perspective of that movie. We were being introduced to Romanov via Tony Stark, and she was basically conning him. So we probably shouldn't have gotten the best impression of what she's actually like. So maybe I don't know, that might be giving them too much credit. But
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I hope so, because I like what you're saying. I like what you have to say there.
Yeah.
Right. But I feel like at the end of that movie where Romanoff and Nick Fury are trying to like draw Tony Stark into the Avengers Initiative, she starts to come out of her shell a little bit at the end of that movie, and you start seeing flashes of the Romanov that we've come to love in these past two movies. But I love the direction they're taking her, because she always has a comeback for everything. She's like super smart, and just she can get through any situation. Like, you're never worried like, oh, is she going to get out of this, because she can completely handle herself. I like that character a lot, not just because she's crazy hot, but because she's actually well written and well acted.
Yeah, I like her too. What this is a reach, but kind of random. Emily Van Camp,
a little bit,
was in that movie as an agent.
Who's,
it was kind
who's
of
that? Oh, Agent 13.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, it was kind of. I mean, it was a small role and everything, but I kind of wonder if they're going to give her any more to do.
Oh, they will.
Okay. Is she a prominent character?
She's
in the comic?
She's a player. Yeah, she's a Marvel player for sure.
Nice. Okay. I've always been a fan of hers.
More importantly, though, and I'm kind of going to say this with the same question mark you put at the end of yours, Robert Redford.
Yeah, that was my next point.
Was in a movie. I mean, he does a lot of behind the scenes stuff. He was in All Is Lost that came out last year.
Yeah,
which was actually pretty good.
I was just gonna ask. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's very good.
Okay.
But man, did he nail that role or what?
He was fantastic.
I had a bit of a problem with the character.
Okay.
I thought he was.
You know what's funny? I think it's interesting that you have a bit of a problem with the character, because I wonder, and I've read this in a couple of places, is he Obama?
Maybe.
Huh.
In that he's incredibly popular and incredibly charismatic, right? but also doing some dangerous things under the guise of protecting them.
Right.
Huh.
A bit delusional almost.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's
Do
definitely.
you see that? Because I can kind of see it.
Now that you say that, yeah.
It's definitely not a stretch.
Right.
Definitely not. It's not even a stretch to say that. I agree. But I think the problem I had was that he was he was kind of standard, I think. Like, I don't know. He wasn't like a special character. He was just a guy who kind of happened to grasp this power, I guess. And there was nothing really special about him. Whereas a lot of these villains that we've had throughout, he was kind of like Jeff Bridges in Iron Man.
Yeah.
Just a guy who happened to fall into a role of power and kind of seize it. I don't.
Right.
Maybe I'm not analyzing it properly, but I didn't. Saying I had a problem with him is kind of a stretch because I didn't really have a problem with him. I think he could have had a little bit more depth, been a little bit better developed, in my opinion.
Okay.
But that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I can see what you're saying, but I also kind of think that's partly the role he was meant to play. Like, the Arnim Zola is kind of the mastermind of it all.
Yeah.
But even more, and I think this is just like for the action of it, the more important villain is the Winter Soldier, who, holy crap, he's so cool.
He was very cool.
He was scary. He was scary. And that's like the best, the highest compliment you can pay a villain in a movie.
Oh, yeah. That scene with, really his introductory scene with Fury, I thought that was really that was kind of, if I didn't have this moment before, it was then that this is the moment where I was like, this movie is freaking awesome. Because it was just really like that kind of intense, high speed chase kind of thing and not knowing, like, I'm sitting there thinking like, I don't know if Nick Fury is going to live or die.
Yeah. That scene was more awesome than it had any right to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was just really cool. Question about the end of that sequence with where they use it twice, 2 or 3 times in the movie that they can get away from them.
Yeah.
How?
I don't know.
I couldn't make sense of that.
I think that's a bit of a Deus Ex Machina that we just kind of have to say, well, you know.
Okay, because it looks like it made a tunnel underneath it or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, but I'm like, I can't make sense of how that
into the sewers
works.
The sewers all under DC, I guess.
Oh,
I don't know.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Winter Soldier was awesome. I loved the interplay between Captain America and him, kind of how Rogers couldn't. I liked that dynamic because Steve Rogers is one of the, like, he has no one, and this is his one link to his former life, and it just made it just a much more intense kind of filter on the whole proceedings of the entire movie. Do
you mean especially the final fight scene between the two of them?
Oh yeah.
I loved it. It was and we'll talk about this in a second. The acting of Chris Evans.
Mm-hmm.
I loved how he played the fraternal aspect of that fight.
Yeah.
How they were. You're right. He was the only thing he had left, and he doesn't want to fight his brother.
Right.
But he does. So how about the acting of Chris Evans?
He's made remarks about how he wants to retire or something, or he wants to quit acting. I really like him as an actor.
Yeah, I do
Me too.
And I mean, not only in the Marvel universe, but I mean, this is going to sound like a dig, but it's just this is a genuine statement. I mean, I liked him in Not Another Teen Movie and Cellular.
Yeah.
I own both of those movies because, at least Cellular is a kind of a fun, stupid movie. But
except that Kim Basinger's in it.
Yeah. and it's such a stretch. Anyway, but he's really charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool to see him have good dramatic turns in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the scene with Peggy Carter.
Yeah.
Where she kind of snaps back into, like, she snaps out of it and has that weird thing that old people have when they're dying.
Right.
And then she comes back in and says, "You're alive." And he plays like sad and wanting to cry, but knows he has to be strong at the same time so well that I can't believe that this was the guy who played Johnny Storm.
Right.
Absolutely. And it was all body language, and it wasn't just some line he said. It was genuine acting. He had the emotion plastered on his face. It was really well done.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he also plays a Boy Scout well. I mean, he's playing the Captain America. This guy is so revered, it's disgusting. Well, he's playing it well.
Yeah.
Right, and that's a point from the Avengers that I think is important to bring up, because that's where he really embraced his role as the captain. You know, he's the guy who gives orders and tells people, "This is what you need to do," and we see that on full display in this movie. And
we do.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm glad you mentioned that and kind of talked about him doing that in Avengers. I felt like he was a weak link in the Avengers in terms of like sheer power. You know, there's a whole bunch of guys flying around, and like, I don't believe that this guy with a Frisbee shield is doing any real damage in the Avengers. And I don't know if it's the storytelling or the fact that there are no Avengers or just the fight sequences, but holy crap, is he a badass.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My counter to that will be that, in his role as an Avenger, he's like a general in a regiment of you know, an army regiment or what have you. He's not necessarily in the action, so that's the caveat I'll say to that.
Yeah, that moment in Avengers where he kind of accepts his role or whatever and kind of gives the orders and all that. I was like that was like one of the best parts of the movie for me, because I think that was when they did like that big like kind of circular shot around all of them as a group.
The cover of the DVD.
Yeah, I loved that scene. That part.
I do love it too, and I love it for an ensemble movie. But Captain America is supposed to be a badass,
right?
And who can fight? And you don't really see that in Avengers, but man, the dude can fight.
Oh yeah.
We have to talk about the hand-to-hand fight scenes.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Just
you
really good.
Mentioned the scene with Nick Fury as the scene where you said, "I love this movie."
Yeah.
When he's fighting Batroc the Leaper, that's when which is only like 9 minutes into the movie. I mean, I said cuss words, and there were like people around. I was like, "Holy shit, man, this is awesome."
Okay,
we were like giggling. Like my friend and I were giggling. We were licking each other's bases.
Nice, I love it. That's awesome.
It was awesome. I read that Joe Russo has said multiple times that they modeled the fight scenes after the Raid Redemption.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I could totally sell. Yeah.
Yeah. The kicks were so devastating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I loved it was I guess the second fight between the Winter Soldier and Captain America. Dang it, I can't remember the context of what the fight was, but I don't think Captain America was even in uniform. I want to say it was when he was first mislabeled or outed as the villain for all of S.H.I.E.L.D. They tried to turn him into the villain, you know, and he has to escape from the compound that's right on the river there, and they send the Winter Soldier after him. It was that fight.
Yes.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so cool. Even the fight in the elevator, and some of it was teased by the trailers, and I'm kind of bummed about that. But there was still tension.
Oh yeah.
And I love that, despite being spoiled by the trailers and also knowing what was going to happen. The tension was fantastic. And then the fights were just brutal.
Yeah. The funny thing, this is so stupid, but No, never mind. I'm not going to say it. Go. Sorry, I'll edit that out.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. I was going to say because as a little anecdote, just that trailer was so awesome. That like in my work, just in the back of my head, like I had to go up to one of the floors to unlock a door or something, and this was during the day, so there was a lot of people in the elevator. So I was like sitting there thinking, like, how weird would it be if I just said his line, like, now before we start, does anyone want to get off? Just like, well, how weird would that be in an elevator full of people?
And then you rip a big fart.
Yes, yes.
Anyway,
so you guys talk to anybody who didn't like the movie?
No, not one.
No.
Not one.
No. I have a friend I saw the movie with, and I'm not sure that he loved it. He didn't giggle like we did at some of the movies. And he said his problem was that he couldn't get past the fact that he played Johnny Storm, and now he's Captain America. And I pity that guy.
Right.
Like, dude,
get over
let it go. For one thing, it's not even in the same cinematic universe.
Right.
And for another, it happened in the past, man.
Right.
He's so good in this. I mean, I don't care who he played in the past.
Right. Wow. I don't have any counter to that because I just can't fathom.
I know. I was
that.
basically just like, oh, well, sorry you feel that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's.
You have to manage your expectations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You have to. Yeah.
Right.
And he didn't do that. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Going back to talking about the fights and everything.
Sure. I'm sorry. that was a bit of a non sequitur on my part.
It's all good. One of the issues that like my former manager at work, when the first one was coming out, he wasn't too keen on seeing it at the time because he said that he didn't think that a superhero should have a gun, like, because in the first one he just pretty much uses a gun, pretty prominently in the trailer at least. I mean, in the first movie he was more, he fought more, but he also had a gun pretty much throughout it. Is that a staple of Captain America or what? Because he didn't have one here, and it worked all the better for it because it was.
Yeah, it was a staple in the past. He had the gun in the past, and then for a while, I want to say it was like 2008 or so, 2007, when Captain America died and Bucky Barnes actually took up the mantle.
Right.
He used a gun pretty much at all times. And interestingly enough, when Captain America returned and Bucky Barnes was Captain America kind of just stayed Steve Rogers' super soldier for a little while. And he had the all blue uniform like he has in this movie. And I hope it's a nod to that. I'm not sure, but I hope that's the case.
Okay.
But then, oh man, again, non sequitur, I apologize.
That's all good.
When he puts on the old costume at the end of the movie, I am so glad that was not spoiled in the trailers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I was giddy like a little kid reading a Captain America comic for the first time.
Nice.
That was so awesome.
That's awesome.
And it's my favorite costume too, the one from the first movie, the bomber outfit.
Oh yeah.
I much prefer his updated uniform that he has in this movie, like the 2013 version or whatever.
Yeah. I like it a lot. I wish there was a little bit of red.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just not, it's part of my weird brain. It's just not tactical to have bright red in your uniform.
Yeah. You're right. I get it.
Yeah. But Matt mentioning him carrying a gun and stuff like that reminds me of like a kind of like a philosophical thing a philosophical opinion I've kind of been developing over the past couple of years with these comic book movies. And I think it came full circle with this movie is that I'm just not crazy about superheroes even, or just heroes that don't kill people. Because it's just so, I don't know, it's just not feasible. Because like, for example, in this movie, this dude brings down 3 aircraft carriers into Washington, D.C. downtown. I realize, obviously, tons of people are going to die. There's no way around it. And you could make the disclaimer that the people who die are collateral damage. You can make that disclaimer, but still, there is death as a direct result of Captain America's actions. So, would it really be so bad? I don't think he should carry a gun or anything. I don't think his goal should be to kill people. But if the dude tosses his shield like a frisbee and it nails some dude in the head, he should die.
Right.
It should happen. Same thing with, I think it's the same thing with Batman, with Superman, with all these other heroes that don't kill people. It's just, it should happen from time to time at the very least. That's one of the things that, I know when we talked about Man of Steel, I remember distinctly, Mike, you saying that it was such a big problem for you that Superman would kill somebody.
Yeah.
I totally get that. I really do. But I kind of liked that for this reason. And I know it is not, it's a borderline and improper opinion to have if you're a comic book fan, because it goes against everything that comics stand for, at least comic book heroes stand for. I totally get that. But I can't turn off the rational side of my brain, the realistic side of my brain when watching these movies. And that's just kind of an opinion I've come to, and it became fully developed when I watched this movie.
Well, that's like your opinion, man. No, you know what? I totally get it. I totally, and there's times where I read whatever comic, and they even ask it in the comics, like how many times could Spider-Man have killed the Green Goblin, and how many lives would have been saved if he did so? Now I like in those specific instances that Spider-Man wouldn't kill the person because it's the principle. Even more so, it's like, because with Spider-Man, it's what Uncle Ben would have wanted.
Right.
Right. So right or wrong, he's going to do what Uncle Ben would have wanted. And I think that's how you can explain Spider-Man. And also, in Spider-Man's case, he would never let that much destruction happen. Even further, if destruction were happening, he would stop whatever he was doing to save those people. That is inherently Spider-Man.
Right.
But I don't know that it's a specific character trait of Captain America. He even mentions in the movie how he killed soldiers in World War II.
It's true. Yeah.
Didn't he?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
So I agree. I think some of those guys probably could have died.
Right. And like,
Superman was gratuitous and obnoxious in the amount of destruction that they caused. We've gone ad nauseum about that movie, so we won't spend too much time. But I can kind of see where you're coming from with Captain A.
Like, you can have great moral, whatever heroes, and still have them kill someone, like Indiana Jones, like Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's that famous scene where, he fights all these dudes, and then this guy shows up with a sword. He just pulls out his gun and shoots him.
Yeah.
Like, that's just awesome. I mean, I granted it's a comic relief scene. It's famous. That's not necessarily the prime example, but it's in the movie, and that's part of the nature of his character. He's willing to kill people. And he's still a good person and a moral hero that I think comic book heroes could get away with it more often than we give them credit for.
I think some of that collateral damage you were talking to is a result of like escalating drama and escalating action. In the early days of just about every comic, it was like, how can they foil a bank robber or something like that?
Yeah.
Right?
Very true.
And then so in these movies, they have to have helicarriers crashing into the earth, or it's just not going to be as exciting as watching Batman punch the Joker on top of a bell tower.
Yeah.
And that is a problem I have. I was thinking the same thing. The first thing I thought when those helicarriers were going down, I was like, man, I hope those things hit water so I don't have to like explain this away in my head.
Yeah.
Luckily, most of them did. I think there was a lot of water.
Right.
If anybody was in the SHIELD headquarters, they probably drowned down in the basement. But I think they pretty much landed in the water.
Yeah. Also, who the hell funded the SHIELD building being built? Like, God.
Do they work for the United States, or is it a world, or what?
I have no idea.
But just look at the scale of that building.
I know, right?
They hollowed out the entirety of the underside of the Potomac River and built helicarriers underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that giant building that's on the Potomac, it's like that would be like several tens of billions of dollars just to do that.
Well, after the Battle of New York, though.
Yeah,
true. But I mean, I don't know if is that supposed to be before or after? Or I mean, is that...
I think it's after. I think it takes place after.
I mean, I know. Well, yeah. I mean, the construction of the building.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
I've read that this takes place a year and a half after.
Okay.
After the events in New York.
Yeah.
So. Interesting. Anything more to say about the movie itself?
Not really. I loved Danny Pudi's
How about the
cameo.
stingers?
Wait, what?
The stingers at the end of the movie. The tags. The post-credits.
Oh, yeah. I don't really know the characters that were depicted in it.
Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Gotcha.
Are the two. And here's what's interesting about those, and here's what kind of bugs me about those. They are, in the Marvel Comics universe, initially Avengers characters that are later revealed to be Magneto's kids. Okay?
Oh.
Now, we know that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is not allowed to say any word or anything that vaguely resembles or sounds like Magneto.
Mm-hmm.
So they will not be Magneto's kids. And I think that they're just two random twins that were experimented on by the Hydra Baron. And so I guess since you guys don't know, it doesn't bug you. That bugs me a lot.
I guess I can understand that.
And I hate that they can't, I hate that it's about money and just as an adult, as a kid, I'd be like, well, those are Magneto's kids. Why can't why can't they just be in the same movie? Why did they get different actors? Why? But now that I know, cause I'm an adult, it's about money. It kind of pisses me off.
Yeah.
It is. That they had to cast two separate sets of actors.
Right.
To play the same characters with different origins because of money. Ugh.
It's selfish. It's selfish.
It is, yeah.
It's obnoxious.
Yeah, it's in the interest of money and not art. It should be in the interest of art, not money. Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. It sucks, but yeah.
Yep.
When you don't know the backstory, it doesn't hurt as much.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. You're right. That's true.
Yeah. I'm excited for those. I'm excited for those two actors in particular, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
Aaron Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
Let's talk briefly. I mean, I've talked about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a little bit on the podcast. I've given up on it because, 22 episodes for a sprawling universe. For what I can tell as being kind of it's a smaller version of a huge universe that I'm a fan of on the big screen. It's kind of a weird transition going to this network TV show that's trying its hardest to hook me, but just didn't do it at all.
Yeah.
But they've had tie-ins with like when Thor came out, the week after that, they had a tie-in with Thor. And then now that Winter Soldier's been released, they had an episode that referenced the events of Winter Soldier. I guess it was a big game changer episode, and it kind of has me thinking do I want to try to get back into it or not? But that's kind of, I don't know where I was going with that. Just that I don't want to have to feel, I don't ever want the Marvel universe to make me feel obligated to do something, as opposed to actually wanting to see something. And they kind of, as much as indifferent as I was toward the first Thor movie or the first Captain America movie, and as kind of blah as I was for the Dark World, I still enjoy them as movies quite a bit, but I don't want to sit through 22 42-minute episodes of a show just so that I can get the full scope of the universe. I don't think that they'll have any big interplay between, like, I don't think the events in the show will influence the events of the movie, but I kind of want that kind of tangential.
The inverse is true, though.
Exactly. Yeah. I kind of want that kind of tangential, like extra kind of thing, that the show, like kind of supplemental plot lines and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wish that it was a better show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of proud of myself for kind of catching on to that before it even started.
Yeah.
Everybody was so floored by it. This is going to be awesome. It's Marvel on TV. I was like, yeah, but have you watched the trailer? Like, none of it looks that good.
Right.
Yeah, but it's Marvel. I mean, it's going to be, yeah, but it doesn't look good, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, but it's going to be awesome, but it doesn't look good. And you know what? It wasn't.
Yeah. It was, I mean, there's not really much else to say about it. Just that it's, I mean, if people like it, people like it, but.
Yeah, they don't really.
They
It's
don't
a dull
know.
show. It's more likely that Community will be renewed than that show.
I'm pretty sure, I assume it'll get renewed, won't it?
It's on the bubble. They're not
Really?
sure.
Huh.
Ratings are low.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they're trying their hardest to promote it too.
It probably will be renewed.
I'm
They'll
sure it will.
probably give it another year.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I'll throw this in real quick. I meant to throw it in when we were talking about Robert Redford, but
Mm-hmm.
I saw Samuel L. Jackson on The Daily Show. It was the week that Captain America came out.
Mm-hmm.
He's beyond cool. He's just so awesome. That he made a similar point to what you said, Mike. He was like, I have no idea how they got Robert Redford to be in this movie.
Yeah.
He said those words. It was really funny. He brought that up. So that's something that a lot of people are wondering as well. So
Yeah. It's crazy. Speaking of Samuel L. Jackson, not that it's so much a Marvel Easter egg, but did you guys get the pop culture, the Pulp Fiction reference?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Me and Matt both laughed.
Yeah, and I feel like we were like the only ones that really caught it.
Yeah.
There were very few in my theater who did.
Yeah.
I actually had a guy behind us like lean forward and he's like, what were you guys laughing at? Was that something?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was, I felt cool.
Oh, yeah.
He actually, yeah. So yeah, not a whole lot of people noticed it, but I was also looking for it. Like I had heard that was going to happen.
I had no idea. And I mean, when I read it, I mean, it's a quick shot, but I mean, it's like,
very quick.
It's also like, I mean, if you didn't get that was a Pulp Fiction reference, you clearly
You've
don't.
never seen
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I don't know. I think we're giving ourselves too much credit. You'd be surprised how many movies some people watch and just don't care like we do. This is really a conversation for another podcast, I think.
That's true.
We are obsessive viewers for a reason.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, does that about do it for our discussion of Captain America? Because, I mean, we're at about an hour.
I think so. Very, very good. Highly,
Yes.
highly recommend.
Oh, yes.
Possibly a movie of the year. Well, it'll be in the top 10 for sure.
Right.
I think it'll be in mine too.
Yeah.
It'll probably crack mine. Perhaps. I don't know.
It's too early to tell. I don't
see how it goes.
You guys know how I am with lists and top 10,
Right.
so I apologize. I'm being stupid.
Oh, no, not at all.
I can't imagine nothing down the pipe, nothing on the calendar has me that excited. Like I'm going to be giddy. I was giddy about the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So
how do you think that Guardians of the Galaxy do you think that Guardians of the Galaxy has a chance to usurp the Winter Soldier from you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And I think it's because the Guardians are fairly new in their current form. That's a fairly new group. And I was also kind of a Captain America fan in the first place.
Okay.
So I'm excited to see how that goes, but I'm a little worried now about the tone. The more and more I see that trailer, the more I'm like, man, they're kind of pushing the funny in places where it doesn't really go.
Really?
And maybe it's because I keep seeing the trailer that the jokes don't work on me.
Maybe.
But some of them seem forced. For example, when he says, "Who are you?" and he goes, "I'm Star-Lord," and the guy goes, "Who?" He wouldn't say who. He wouldn't say who. Right? He doesn't go, "Oh, you haven't heard? I'm Star-Lord." Right? This guy clearly has never met a guy named Steve. Right? So who's he to say that someone calling themselves Star-Lord is unusual? Who are you? I'm Star-Lord. Okay, we'll put that back, Star-Lord.
I think
that's how that conversation should go.
You're analyzing the crap.
I know.
I know I am. I've seen it so many times.
To respond to that, maybe it's because it's a human, and he's seeing a human that's calling himself this really weird thing, and maybe he's reading his body language and stuff. Because I didn't have a problem with that line at all, and I don't think I will have a problem with it because I love it. I absolutely love it, and I mean it does lead to the whole like Star-Lord, legendary outlaw. I forget it. I love that. I love that part of the trailer, but I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. I think that might be a little over analytical.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But you asked.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, I don't.
I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good. I'm terribly nervous about the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh yeah.
Just because the first one was not great.
Right.
And reviews are coming in mixed.
I read one that was kind of negative.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Because the trailer,
I really hate what they're doing. I hate that they're building a Spider-Man universe. That's so stupid.
Yeah.
That's so greedy. To borrow a word from you, Tiny. I think that's just so greedy.
Mm-hmm.
It is so clearly a ripoff of Avengers to do a Sinister Six movie.
Yeah.
It's so clearly greedy that it makes me sick.
I was thinking about that this morning. Like, okay, if they do like a Sinister Six movie and like a Venom movie, how is that going to be different from a Spider-Man movie? Because from what I understand, Spider-Man is the only hero in that universe. So how can they make a villain-centric movie and not just have it be Spider-Man?
Spider-Man is the antagonist?
I wouldn't even say that. Is that how they would do it? Or
I don't know. I have no idea.
Because I just don't see how they can make it separate from.
Drew Goddard is directing it, is he not?
Directing
Drew Goddard did Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah. That's good.
Is he doing that or Venom? He's doing one of the two.
Right.
And I think it's Sinister Six.
Okay. I don't have the slightest clue which one he's doing, but I like that he's doing it. I mean,
sure.
That gives me some hope, but.
And I could be wrong.
Yeah. I think but
if Amazing Spider-Man is any indication as to what the rest of the universe is going to be like, then I'm not excited.
Right. It's
hearing you say that, I'm assuming that you would be much more thrilled if they inserted Spider-Man into the Avengers universe.
Because oh my gosh, yes.
Isn't that like a famous part of the Marvel universe is that Spider-Man worked with the Avengers?
He does. He works with the Avengers. He's now currently Avenger. He actually has been Avenger for probably about 7 or 8 years. He's been an Avenger for a while, an official Avenger.
Oh, gee, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So it would be cool. It would be great. And it would be nice if he were in that universe. But kind of like you said, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I don't even know that Spider-Man exists.
Right.
Yeah.
And even more, I don't think mutants exist, which means Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are not even going to be mutants.
Right.
Such a bummer.
It is. It really is. It's hard to like, they've got to be a little embarrassed by it to kind of boast this thing they call the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
We have Marvel Comics, the Marvel Universe with all these characters. And then in our cinematic universe, well, we don't have mutants.
Right.
It's so stupid that they can't work something out.
Yeah.
Disney bought Lucasfilm.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't work something out.
Yeah.
Right. I don't understand. I don't work in show business, clearly, so I guess I don't understand, but it is frustrating.
Come up with some kind of like 70, like, okay, Spider-Man's going to be in the second Avengers movie. Do like a 80-20 split on the profits or something.
Right.
Or just work something out,
Yeah.
man. It's
Right.
It's a bummer.
It's greed.
Yeah. It is
Pure
great.
and simple.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
So how about we go ahead and switch over to some potpourri?
Let's do it.
Sounds delicious.
Awesome. All right. Well, this is the portion of the show in which we talk about whatever we're into currently or looking forward to, or really anything that's on our mind that doesn't fit with the topic of the week. So to get things kicked off, why don't we start with Tiny? How about you? What do you got for potpourri?
Awesome. I have a movie I watched the other day called 47 Ronin.
Okay.
Yeah. What's the laugh for, Mike?
I don't know. It just looked stupid.
Yeah. Have you not seen it?
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
I
me
mean,
neither.
I didn't see it on purpose.
Right.
I avoided it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. Because I'm going to make a statement about it. It was pretty stupid. I mean,
Okay.
but I was expecting it to be kind of stupid. I didn't think I would like it that much. What I was surprised to learn at the end is this film is based on a popular or famous Japanese legend. There is a grave site, I guess. I don't know all the details of it, but I guess there's a grave site that exists somewhere in Japan that's very famous that people come to visit, where 47 Ronin are buried with it would essentially be like a lord or like some kind of a branch of a Japanese monarchy. It would have been their former master. If you don't know what a Ronin is a samurai without a master. And so it's very strange that these, I guess, dishonored samurai who are now Ronin would be buried with a master. And so nobody knows the story, but there's all of these legends and myths about it. And it sounds so cool to me. It sounds like that is such a deep well for a really nice story, a really good movie that you could come up with. And they totally squandered it with this movie. Not for lack of trying, because there's a ton of really cool CGI in it. The costumes were incredible. They looked amazing. It's a strange thing to focus on, but I loved the costume work in this movie. And they poured a metric crap ton of money into it. They spent like $150 million on this movie. I think they could have made it for about 60, but that's just me. But they completely squandered it. It was this strange story that was, they tried way too hard to Americanize it. There's not a line of Japanese in the entire movie, but Keanu Reeves is the only white person in the movie. It's just crazy. The one of the few bright spots was the actress. I didn't look up her name. She's Japanese, but she played the like witch in the movie, and I really liked her. She was pretty great. I hadn't seen her in anything else. She was creepy, and she played the character well. I liked the way she delivered her lines. But the movie was it was just disappointing. Everything that's cool about it is in the trailer. So
Okay.
if you've seen the trailer, you've seen the movie. So I was just really bummed. I think it's one of those stories or one of those opportunities for a story that could be a really awesome movie, but no one's been able to pull it off yet. So it's a bummer.
Interesting little 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. In Marvel Comics, Hawkeye, for a little while, after he was presumed dead, took up the mantle Ronin.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
nice.
And then, of course, went back to Hawkeye before the Avengers movies started coming out.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that movie didn't look that. I mean, it did nothing for the trailers. Did absolutely nothing for me.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. If it had been that kind of thing, like you said, the source material, I would have been a little more intrigued by it. But I think the whole supernatural element and the fantasy element of the trailer just turned me away from it.
See, that didn't bother me. I think if you work it into the story properly, I think it would have made a cool story. like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon sort of did.
Okay.
So if you're looking for a good movie about a white dude who becomes a samurai, just go see The Last Samurai. With Tom Cruise. It was a lot better.
Oh, that is a good movie. I haven't seen
It
that
really
in a
is.
while.
Me too.
I've only seen it once, and I think I was falling asleep during it. But
It's a way better movie.
nice.
So yeah,
Cool.
Mhm.
Mike, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I have 3, so I'll try to keep it very brief.
Okay.
Number 1, I just recently purchased on Blu-ray Elysium,
Interesting.
and I think we did a review of that.
We did.
as
That may have
well.
been our most recent one.
Yeah, and I was pretty lukewarm about it, but I'm excited to give it another chance without
Okay.
the high expectations. And I am excited about seeing that. The other one, I know we talked with our guests on our last episode about 7 Psychopaths,
Mm-hmm.
and you said that I needed to watch that. I finally did, and it was
Nice.
brilliant.
Nice.
Yeah, I really liked it a lot. I mean, anything with Sam Rockwell,
Oh,
I
yeah.
found that I'm just going to like no matter what. And it didn't disappoint. It was even more clever than I thought it was going to be. The trailers really show a lot of Christopher Walken, and I like Chris Walken in small doses. And I was worried there was going to be more of it in him than I could bear to handle. But there wasn't. There was just the right amount of Walken.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciated it a lot. The one I want to talk a little more about is the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, how was it?
Yeah, have you guys seen it?
I haven't.
No.
I did see that it is the first Wes Anderson movie to gross over $100 million.
Yes, it was.
Wow.
You know me. You know that I am prone to hyperbole. And in April, it is an early front runner for movie of the year.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah. I was not a fan of Moonrise Kingdom. Were you guys?
Didn't see it.
I was kind of just... I got it. I liked it as a story of young love, but other than that, I was like, I don't have any inclination to ever see this again.
Okay. You basically just wrote my review for it. Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
Nice.
I like Wes Anderson a lot, but I wouldn't say I'm a Wes Anderson fanboy like a lot of people are.
Right.
He certainly has a tone, and he is Kubrickian in the sense that the way he paints a picture in his frames.
Mhm.
There is no director working today that makes movies like Wes Anderson. I
Right.
think that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
So I like The Life Aquatic a lot. The Royal Tenenbaums is pretty good. I never saw the Darjeeling Limited. Never saw Fantastic Mr. Fox. What are the others? Oh, Rushmore is okay. So anyway, the Grand Budapest Hotel, I think, is the best. It's the least Wes Anderson-y of the Wes Anderson movies, and I think that's
Really?
to its benefit.
Huh.
Okay.
Wow,
Huh.
the trailer did not give that impression at all. It made me feel...
Okay, it's super quirky.
Mhm.
Every picture or every scene is framed perfectly, and it's Wes Anderson in that aspect. However, it has a sense of urgency and a sense of propulsion and storytelling that none of his movies ever have before.
Okay.
Yeah, there's an edge of your seat quality to it. Also, more specifically in comparison to Moonrise Kingdom, and I had this debate with a friend of mine who prefers Moonrise Kingdom over Grand Budapest. We saw it together. He liked, I think, Edward Norton more because he likes Edward Norton a lot.
Yeah.
And as much as I like Edward Norton, I think Ralph Fiennes does a better job of reading Wes Anderson's lines. When Edward Norton reads lines, it feels like he's trying to do his best impression of a Wes Anderson movie. But when Ralph Fiennes is reading the lines, I hear them coming from his mouth and it's believable, yet it still has that Wes Anderson tone. Does that make any sense?
That makes a lot of sense because I definitely got that impression from Edward Norton's performance.
Oh, you did? Okay,
in
good. I'm
Moonrise
glad.
Kingdom.
He is like, and I think I've said this before, he's like Samuel L. Jackson in a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah, that makes a lot. Yeah, I agree completely.
Ralph Fiennes is the Sam Jackson of Wes Anderson. At least I hope.
Okay,
because he just read the dialogue so well.
that's awesome.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a very fun movie to watch, very interesting movie to watch, and I recommend it. I laughed hysterically at times, and I was on the edge of my seat other times. It's an early front runner for movie of the year.
Cool. I'll have to see it because I like the Life Aquatic and I really like the Royal Tenenbaums, and the one time I saw Rushmore I loved it, but he is really a bit of an acquired taste and kind of like you have to be in a mood to watch his movies.
Yes. Yes, you do.
So yeah.
I would argue that you don't necessarily have to for Grand Budapest.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Is that it for your potpourri?
That's it.
Okay. So mine, I've talked about it a lot in our pod chat, but it's Les Revenants. I don't know how to French, but that sounded weird.
No.
I don't know how to French.
I don't know how to French. Let's just move past it.
I'm going to take a shot. I think it would be Les Revenants.
Nice.
Yeah.
Probably.
I just went from 6 to midnight.
For all of us in America, it's The Returned. It's a mystery thriller drama series from France. It's the basis for the current ABC series Resurrection.
Okay.
And I was very interested in seeing Resurrection just as wanting a mystery series or kind of that kind of thing, but I'm so disenfranchised by network television that I was just like, okay, I'm gonna wait as long as possible before I watch it. But as luck would have it, I was listening to the Firewall and Iceberg podcast, and they talked up The Returned, which it's a French show, like I said, and it premiered, I think it was last year. And it was on Sundance Channel. Sundance Channel bought the rights to air it over here. So, and I guess it's got like a huge amount of acclaim and it's a huge hit for them. But it's about the small mountain village in France that one day people come back from the dead. And it's a variety of characters. There's about 5 characters that are kind of the center of it that come back to life. And it's just, they all died in different circumstances, different time periods, and they all come back with no knowledge of what they were, that they're dead. So it's a really fascinating character driven mystery show because you have just this really cool emotional motor of it, I guess, that's driving the plot. Like the characters and the character relationships and the emotional aspect of the relationships are driving the plot as opposed to the mystery of like what the hell's going on in this town. For instance, one of the characters that comes back to life is this girl, Camille, who is a 15-year-old who died in a bus crash, and when she died, she had a twin sister who is now, it's been 4 years, so her twin sister's 19 years old. And there's this really interesting dynamic between the two that when she died, she was in love with this guy who her sister was kind of involved with. And now he's older and she's kind of trying to, it's hard to explain, but she's kind of like trying to make up for lost time, I guess would be the phrase I would use. So it's just really interesting to see that kind of thing, like the mystery kind of taking a back seat to it, I guess, although every episode ends with questions and more clarity of what's happening, but kind of that standard mystery series dynamic. In a lot of ways, the show reminds me a lot of like a Stephen King book. Which you guys know, I'm a massive Stephen King fan, so I loved that part of it. Cause it's just a small community that they all have their different interactions and different dynamics and everything, but it's this communal thing that the characters are, like as I've said many times during this little spiel, that the characters are driving the story, and I just love it for that. The location is amazing. It's like I said, it's a beautiful like French mountain village, and the scenery it's so unlike what I'm accustomed to seeing here on American television. So it really pops. And also the music is just, it's really it's like the most earworm music ever, because it's kind of subtle and it really complements the emotional aspect of the narrative, but it gets stuck in your head, and it's the best kind of thing. It's altogether it's a really cool series. It's 8 episodes. It's on Netflix. It will be back for a second season late this year on Sundance Channel.
Subtitles?
Yeah, subtitles.
Okay.
Which is another thing. Hearing the French accents and them speaking French and stuff is just cool, because I mean it's a beautiful language. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so that's in the ending is I kind of wish that I would have gotten a little more closure on the mystery, but I mean it's a sprawling kind of series that's going to run for multiple seasons. So, and sure. I'm no stranger to shows that are mystery driven that I wait for resolution of the mystery. So,
and don't get them.
Yeah. Well,
I'm kidding. That's a joke. That's a joke.
It's okay. It's okay. I won't hyperventilate. But
hearing you talk about it and text about it with us and stuff, I've decided to watch it because I think it sounds really awesome.
Oh, you won't. I don't think you'll regret it. It's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I guess that about does it then, doesn't it? I was going to talk about the Sleepy Hollow pilot. But
please don't.
I'm not going to. It's in short, and I'm like, I referenced my former manager at work, Casey. He talked it up to me, and I it sounded cool, but man, in execution, I couldn't get into it. So I won't waste your time talking about that. But
all right, I will continue to not watch it.
Okay, good.
Me too.
But definitely check out The Returned. It's really cool. All right, so I guess that about does it. Should I count us out?
Yep. Take us out, Captain.
All right. I love it. As always, thank you for listening to the Obsessive Viewer podcast, and thank you to Star Tissue for providing our awesome opening theme music. You can find a link to their SoundCloud page in the show notes. As always, be sure to rate and review us on iTunes. That really helps us out a lot, and I really hope that you do that. It doesn't take that much effort. And tell your friends about us, and vote for us for Podcast of the Month on podcastland.com. Also, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Obsessive Viewer. Tiny is at Obsessive Tiny. And of course, Mike is at I am Mike White. And if you have any thoughts on the podcast or suggestions for future topics or anything, you can email us at ovpodcast@gmail.com. Also, be sure to check out obsessivebooknerd.com if you're into reading and like reviewing stuff. We have a lot of stuff in the pipeline for that. And also check out Tiny's side project, The Secular Perspective, at thesecularperspective.com. It's a podcast about our secularism where we discuss topics related to religion and faith and lack of religion, all that stuff. It's a lot of fun. So I'm be sure to check that out. And I think that about covers everything, does it not?
I think so.
It does.
Awesome. Well, thank you for listening, guys. And this is the point where we would have a good sign out, but we don't. So thanks for listening. Excelsior, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Right. Bye.
What up, Joe?
What's up, you son of a bitch?
That wasn't a very nice thing to say.
I don't know why I called you that. I'm sorry.